Age of Men is over. The time of the Orc has come.
Alright, hello YouTube, welcome back to the Goblin King YouTube channel, and in today's video we're going to be discussing why didn't the Fellowship, or I guess the Council of Elrond, decide to take the ring to the sea, and just basically throw it in the sea and try to get rid of their problems that way. I'm going to discuss why they didn't do that, and also I want to tackle an interesting idea, because there is an idea that's brought up as like, Sauron knows and or expects us to go that route. I want to talk about, actually, in this video, if it would have been possible for them to actually have gotten to the sea as well. But before we get into the video, if you guys like to like, subscribe, and comment, please do for more of this type of content. Helps the channel grow, people that might like this content as well. And let's get into it. So, I want to start out the video with a quote that we are given from the Council of Elrond. This comes when they are discussing on what they should do with the ring. Then if the ring cannot be kept from him forever by strength, said Glorfindel, two things only remain for us to attempt, to send it over the sea or destroy it. But Gandalf has revealed to us that we cannot destroy it by any craft that we here possesses, said Elrond, and they who dwell beyond the sea would not receive it. For good or ill, it belongs to Middle-earth. It is for us who still dwell here to deal with it. So that kind of answers the first question that we have here. Well, would the ring eventually just resurface? And that's what would happen. I don't think that the ring would go to Valinor and just pass on to the Undying Lands and then would fall out of history or whatever. It's made very apparent that the whole idea of Sauron was a Middle-earth problem. It was not a Valinor problem. And the one thing I want to point out here is that I think in the long run, it doesn't really do any good either. Because let's say the ring is taken back. It's sent back to the Iron... Let's say the ring is sent and it goes to the Undying Lands. Whatever happens there, they just dump it in the sea and no one finds it. Sauron still would have won. If we think about all of the events that end up playing out, without the ring being destroyed, Aragorn and his forces at the Black Gate would have been destroyed. And really, Sauron, if he knew the ring, again, if Sauron knew that the ring was taken and thrown back into the sea, what does that tell Sauron? Sauron can now wait. He can build his armies up even more. Because we're told that Sauron does preemptively strike. He didn't want to strike as early as he did. So that just gives him even more time. He has no real rush to try and reclaim the ring or destroy all these other things. He can just build until he's at his maximum and full strength. And if we even look at the Fellowship as a whole, what the Fellowship does leads to some of these events, like Aragorn and the Three Hunters getting and helping Rohan, Gandalf helping out Rohan. Maybe these things still happen. But with that being said, how is that going to work? Because you would think that Gandalf and maybe the Fellowship as a whole would be part of this unit trying to get it to the sea. So if they're completely out of the picture, I mean, Middle-earth just gets steamrolled. Because, yes, Sauron may wait a while before he attacks, but Saruman would still have already announced himself and would begin trying to take over Rohan. And without Gandalf's help, he would do that. So, in this scenario of the ring sending it over the sea, it doesn't do any good. Now, this is really something that Tolkien shows us is the easy route or the hard route. And the easy option is to throw away your problems, push them aside, not face them. That's kind of the cowardly way of dealing with your problems. And he presents us with the ring, which is sin. It is our greatest issues, our temptations, facing those and recognizing those and defeating those problems. That's kind of what I look at for this decision and why the Council of Elrond is so intriguing to look at. It's one of my favorite chapters of Fellowship of the Ring. It's one of my favorite chapters of all Lord of the Rings, right up there with like the Weathertop chapter. So again, I really feel like when you take a look at the Council of Elrond, there really was not an option there. And if we even look at the second part of this video that I mentioned in the intro, was it even feasible for them to have gotten all the way to the west to throw away the ring in the sea? And the answer to that question is, I do think they could have. I think their biggest threat still would have been Saruman. I think Sauron would have been the main threat if they tried to take the ring west. Because again, the ring wraiths were kind of out of action for a while, and if the company goes further away from Mordor, I think there wasn't as many threats that Mordor could pose to the Fellowship. Now, Saruman is a different story, and we also know that there was like wargs that were being riled up and were attacking, say, the Fellowship. So there are still going to be obstacles, but I think they would have been able to make it all the way to the west. I'm not sure what would have stopped them. Maybe if the ring wraiths, they get their fell beasts, and then they just book it to where they are and all 9 attack on their fell beasts. That's plausible that maybe they could have been killed there. I don't know. To me, I think they could have made it all the way to the west, even though it was what Sauron and probably Saruman did expect them to do. I just don't think that they would have been able to get the ring away from the Fellowship. Now, what's interesting would have been, how would that have played out with the ring actually being willingly thrown away? Because Frodo would have presumably had to take this journey all the way back west and then sailed on a ship to then just drop the ring in the water or throw it. I have a hard time believing, with the ring's full power working, that Frodo would have been able to actually even do that. I know that Frodo does not have the ring nearly as long as people like Bilbo, and again, Frodo got the ring in the most innocent way possible, so it didn't corrupt him as quickly as maybe someone like Gollum, who got it from murdering. Because the way the ring's kind of effects work on someone is how they get the ring. Because we see how characters kind of make up excuses and lie as to how they got the ring. So maybe Frodo would be able to throw it away. I think it maybe would be extremely tough. It would take really Gandalf, really, just like he did with Bilbo, using all of his kind of power to make him throw it away. That would be an interesting discussion for another video, but what do you guys think? Do you guys think Frodo could have willingly given up the ring and thrown it into the sea at this point of the story? He hasn't had the ring for very long, to where he's been using it. He has had it for, the years in between Bilbo leaving and then his departure, but again, we're told that he doesn't use the ring, like, pretty much at all. So I think it is plausible that maybe he could have, but I'm not sure. Let me know what you guys think. But that was kind of my short little discussion / video on why, one, the Fellowship didn't eventually go to taking it to the sea, and two, why that didn't really matter. It just didn't really matter the context, because if they had done that, it didn't prevent Sauron from growing in power. Thank you guys all for watching the video, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye, guys.